And in studio now, we do have Everlyne Moraa Oyagi. She is the founder and CEO of Swazuri Events Limited. Everlyne, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good to have you here.
Pleasure is mine.
And you look good.
Santi.
Yeah? Or did you just
looks-
blush?
She looks stunning.
Yeah.
You guys are going to make me blush this morning. This cold Mombasa morning.
Yeah. I like the color.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you. I love it as well. Allow me to plug
Yes, please.
my friend known as Chris Njoki, who runs Icon. This is a made in Kenya.
Chris.
Yeah, so this is a made in Kenya Icon wear.
Okay.
Hizo za vidole. Where are they made?
Tuachie tu hapo.
And
The rest you can find. The rest you'll find out nyuma ya tent.
Oh, okay.
Sawa.
Privilege.
Welcome, Everlyne, to the show. Now, you work with entrepreneurs a lot. First of all, let's talk about what Swazuri Events Limited does. And pretty much you work with entrepreneurs. What do you do?
So once again, thank you for having me on your show. I'm going to try and mix English Kiswahili and itatokea faster. We'll just blend and
Don't worry,
go with it.
both languages work for us.
So Swazuri Events Limited basically is an ecosystem that supports young African entrepreneurs through capacity building, including trainings, workshop, mentorship, and community. So incepted in 2016, I did leave my job to pursue a random idea I had in my head to do events around young people. I was living in Nairobi then. And I used to walk around trying to sell my vision to companies that I'm looking for a venue. I want to do events for young people. I don't have any money. I know venues are expensive. Can you support me? And I always give credit to Safaricom because they were the first official partners I had through their Michael Joseph Center. And that's where the journey began. And so we would host events that will bring personalities to share their stories initially, and then over time we started having the ideas of what if we did trainings, so that other than just storytelling, we are actually capacity building those who are hungry enough. And back then we did around digital media conversations, and over time that grew. We started having hangouts, and there was the idea of community.
Yeah.
So basically over time I say it's an ecosystem, because as of last year November again we've opened up a store in Nairobi known as Zuri Hub. So what it does, it supports entrepreneurs through rent a shelf, logistics, business advisory services. So it's the hub to be for young entrepreneurs.
I like that. You said you left your job to venture into something. That's a big leap.
So you're young and you have this desire, this ambition. I think I was 22 then. I had nothing to lose, literally. I was like, let me just take a leap of faith. If it works out, well and good.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, we'll just go back and look for another job, you know. But then it was 9 months in. But then I have this yearning that I wanted to be outside, to connect with people. And so I just left clueless, without a plan. But I was like, let me just go see what the world has to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you start? Because you see, we hear people say, I left my job and started a business. But then we also hear other people say, I saved up for 6 months or a year before I quit to start a business. You're saying you left without a plan.
I like telling people my business is one that didn't need financial muscle as much. I needed social capital more.
Okay.
So I needed to know people, because I was selling, the first event we needed to do was a fashion event.
Yeah.
I needed to know people in the fashion industry. I needed to know people who can give me space, people who can give me makeup, everything complimentary wise.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was make sure we could sell tickets, because Safaricom coming on board was giving us everything.
Yeah.
Venue, sound, seats, everything. Literally, you just need your people to show up, you know. And so my biggest challenge was just trying to convince more people to come. So luckily, first event we had around 120 attendees, and our tickets were 1,500 at the gate. No, 1,500 advance and then 2,500 at the gate. So we made enough money from that one event to cater for everything we needed to do that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you talk about Safaricom, because Safaricom is a huge brand,
Yeah.
you know, how do you get Safaricom to believe in your dream and support you?
I want to give credit to the late Bob Colimo.
Yeah.
May his soul rest in peace. Bob was very big on supporting young creatives.
Yeah.
Bob was so big in supporting young creatives. I think all you had to do back in the day, you just needed to know the information of what is happening where.
Yeah.
So once I learned that Safaricom has a spot inside their headquarters
Yeah.
that they give out to creatives, I just had to make sure I need to go and talk to them and sell my idea to them. And so when I went, I didn't know anyone. I think these are the things I used to do over the weekend when I should be young, having fun.
Yeah.
I would shower, dress up, go and introduce myself to the receptionist and say, I've heard this and this about your space. Who can I talk to?
Yeah.
Of course, they give you the generic marketing email, marketing at wherever. And so I wrote an email once, and then they didn't respond. But then every month I used to remind myself. That was before I quit.
Yeah.
I used to remind myself, there's an email I wrote to Safaricom. Let me write a follow-up. So I would write a follow-up. Hi, my name is Eva. I wrote an email a while back, and I'm following up. If you've seen my email,
Yeah.
I think I did around 3 follow-ups, and on the 4th one, that was quite a bit of time in it. So one day someone responded from their team, like, hi, Eva, which email are you talking about? Kindly reshare your proposal here.
Yeah.
And so that's when I reshared my proposal, and they told me this is not the format we use for a proposal, use this particular format. And I rearranged everything, and then the day they responded that, okay, this is good enough, we'll be able to support you, I left the next day.
Oh.
I left my job the next day. I was like, this is it. What can go wrong? This is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And what, when you say events, what did you pitch?
So back in the day in 2016, fashion blogging was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nairobi is very vibrant and fast. Although I only went to Nairobi during my campus time. Otherwise, I was in Mombasa. Mombasa is home. Kulelewa huku from primary all the way till high school.
Yeah.
But then when I was there during university, I noticed how it's fast-paced. People are pursuing crazy ideas that I didn't even see around me growing up.
Yeah.
So I got a bit of nudge that maybe this is where dreams can also happen and my
Yeah.
crazy ideas can come to life. And so one day, through watching a lot of TV, I saw a fashion concept that I liked. And I was like, this is cool. Fashion bloggers showcasing creativity on the
Yeah.
runway. Seems cool. And I was like, why not do it? I know so many fashion bloggers or young people in the space. And so the idea was to bring fashion bloggers together, and they would work with stores, so fashion stores, be it made in Kenya or whatever retail store you're able to partner with.
Yeah.
And then now the same way you write about your creativity on your blog, now you showcase it on the runway in partnership with an exclusive store. And yeah, and then music. Back in the day, Le Band was still there. I think Le Band played at our first gig. Just guys having a good time, dressing up.
Yeah.
And that was what I pitched. And we got in. And I did 3 editions of that event. It was an annual event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yani nataka kurudi pale kwa hiyo event ya kwanza ukaweza kufikisha watu 120
20.
na kwa gate walikuwa wanalipa
25 at the gate, 1500 advance.
Hii kuna kitu gani ambacho ulifanya ndio hao watu 120 wakafika hapa?
Social capital.
Ukumbuke huku umetoka tu job, umeenda ukapitch,
Yeah.
sawa huku imeingiliana, but sasa how did you get to hawa watu wote?
Again, social capital. So I'm not an outdoor person. Siko so much in the social scene. So I had to make sure that the person I partnered with was more of a strategic alignment. So I want to call her my daughter. You know, in high school, how you have like a Form 3, Form 2, Form 1.
Yeah.
So my Form 1 babes, her name is Nora. Apa Mamangina, actually.
Girls.
Yeah. So Nora loved the fashion space. Nora was in the fashion scene. Nora was on billboards, she was on magazines, and she was my baby. So when I knew about the idea I had, like, Nora, I have this idea. I don't have the resources, but I know we can pull it off.
Yeah.
So now Nora being in the fashion space, it was easier for her to pull the fashion crowd. So for me, the biggest thing I was bringing to the table was corporate partnerships, because we need to make sure we don't have like expenses towards makeup. Makeup is expensive, and I'm having like 12 models. Any other thing we could get partners for? Is it drinks? Is it refreshments? Is it food? I'm the one making the discussions around, can you come partner with us in exchange for this and this and this and that? So I understood my role and what I bring to the table, and Nora was able to pull the fashion crowd properly.
So kufikia hapa mko nyinyi wawili ama you have?
No,
like
we were only
team?
partners for that particular event.
Uh-huh.
For that particular event, because once the event ended, I remember feeling a sense of gratitude and like disbelief, because it felt so good. It had so many people. Some of the leading stores in Nairobi were our partners then. There was a store known as Store 66, such a premium store. My MC was Anita Nderu. Like how I got her was through talking to people and asking, can they come support in this and this and that? And so once the event ended, I remember telling Nora, I'm going to do events for the long run, but now I want to do events for young women, so that those who are crazy like me, who want to pursue their desires, talents, ambitions, know it's possible, and I'm able to connect them with personalities or people who make them keep on dreaming and being crazy. Yeah.
So unajua tunazungumza na vijana hapa. Umesema people who are crazy like me. So hapo itabidi kwanza tufafanulie hii crazy ni crazy ya upeo gani?
To be an entrepreneur anyway, you literally have to be in your own world. Manake we mwenyewe you must have the drive and the ambition kuamini hiyo idea yako inaweza fanyika. Yeah, it's one thing being able to conceive that idea, but then implementing it is another step. So those who have crazy ideas, mtu anadhani labda anaweza kuwa the next Safaricom, mama kupeana competition of whatever level, the next M-Pesa, whatever, just go and do it. We mwenyewe bora you have the end in mind and you have that goal and vision, amka. Ask yourself, what am I good at? Who do I need to get me where I need to go to? And then just talk about your business to anyone and everyone so that people come and support. Usijinyamazie. Manake, when you're quiet, we can't know what you're doing. So crazy in terms of like your desire, your ambition, your drive. Yani we mwenyewe tu ndo naelewa, because me leaving my job wasn't easy. Of course, my parents weren't happy about it, you know. My parents weren't happy about it. But I was like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Let me go do this. If it works, sawa. If it doesn't, tarudi nitafute kazi, but nitakuwa nime try to chase after something that I have inside me.
Yeah.
Okay. Sasa swali jingine hapo linakuja. Ulituma mail kwa hawa, tuseme ndio main. But sasa kuna hawa wengine wadogo sijui story ya makeup. Nini? How did you go about hawa wengine? Because huku umetuma mail ndio imekaa kwa muda mrefu. Hapa ndio ilikuwa target.
Yeah. Because the venue was the key thing we needed. Yeah.
Yes. So hawa wengine, how did you go about it?
So the first edition of the event in 2016, Nora brought in a makeup person who does their makeup, but then she charged us, but it was such a small fee for doing makeup for all these people.
Yeah.
And I knew a few tickets will be able to sell it, to pay this.
Oh,
It was such a small fee as compared to the market rate. But the second edition for the event, I knew of a lady known as Nelly Pauline. She was doing Pauline Cosmetics, a made in Kenya makeup brand. I wrote to Pauline in 2016 and she was like, unfortunately, we are not able to come through and support you at this particular time. So in 2017, when I was doing the event again, I reignited my conversation with Pauline. And then we had a meeting with her. I showed her the video and how our event was. And by the time tuko tunamaliza hiyo discussion, she was like, I'm happy to come and sponsor your makeup. The third edition, we had Linton's. I just went to Linton's and I spoke to the receptionist, and she said, go in there, talk to so-and-so. And I pitched to the person I met who was in charge of Linton's School of Makeup in Nairobi. And she was like, this is great.
Unatembea na upako.
I like that, because you see, for her, it's, I want this. I'm going to send an email. I want this. I'm going to walk up to them and say, hi, could you do this? Yeah. And
the
also
worst they can do is say no.
True.
Lakini pia
That's so
interest
good to
yangu
hear.
hapo,
Yeah.
were you doing it sasa at an individual capacity? Because na feel the feeling huku nje ni kwamba pengine mtu ako na kampuni ndio utume email ikae, unajua kuna wale wanakuambia sweet it should be official,
Yeah.
vitu kama hizo. Was it that case?
So when I started in 2016 first event hiyo yenye niliacha kazi kufanya, that was purely as Evelyn.
Yeah.
Purely. So and then even when it comes to the fashion bloggers I got, I would write emails to fashion bloggers at that particular time through Instagram, ama sijui ilikuwa ni Facebook. Kama mtu ana blog, si wanaacha contact zao hapo.
Yeah.
I use that email to write to them. And I have to give credit again to one of my mentors up to now. Her name is Lucia Musau. Lucia was like, who do you need to know? You just talk to people and tell them about your idea.
Yeah.
And then those who want to support come on board. So, but then Ville event was so successful, because I remember even my parents saying, maybe you're onto something.
Yeah.
Because it was featured on, kulikuwa na ile inaitwa Fashion Watch, Citizen or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Then it was on Grapevine. It was on Pulse magazine. It was, I don't know what magazine. My
Yeah.
parents were like, maybe you're onto something,
Yeah.
you know? Then now I registered a business. Immediately, the week or 2 weeks after, I registered a business. So going forward, I had a business name operating. Also because for me to be able to tap into other organizations, I needed to have a better identity other than Eva.
Yeah.
That's where Swazuri events came about.
Oh, that's
So-
actually
Swazuri event.
Swazuri events. Yeah. And so from the fashion, I think maybe last one on this one, from the fashion, are you still doing fashion events, or has it morphed?
No, because in 2018, my dear fashion event betrayed me.
Oh.
I ended up having the worst experience with it. Our third edition wasn't so good. And I think for the first time I felt or asked myself, is this what it means to fail in public? Because now the second edition, you think the first edition was big,
Yeah.
the second edition was bigger
Yeah.
and better.
Yeah.
And then the third edition,
It flopped.
yep.
What happened?
So we were getting to a point where the event scene in Nairobi was becoming too much. Yani kuna event kila weekend. I remember there's something. Alafu on that particular, so because tulikuwa tunaifanya Safaricom bado, Michael Joseph Center, but then because of their booking, you have to book in advance ndo ujue kama uko na hiyo tarehe ama hauna.
Yeah.
You get? So by the time, let's say umebook event in advance, maybe a few months to come. And then out here, other people announce, I don't know, they're bringing which artist. So these are competing factors. And then the fashion scene was becoming a bit ish. It was no longer that vibrant as before. Yeah. So it flopped.
Yeah.
It flopped. And it was like, what just happened? So even some of my attendees who came to the previous one in 2017, which was so good,
Yeah.
they're like, what happened? So now everyone keeps asking you, oh my God, Eva, what has happened? What has happened?
Yeah.
Then it gets to you that indeed something has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the last time I did it.
Oh.
What? Wait a minute. Hujawahi fanya tena?
No. I have people who ask me to reinvent it, and I'm like, nope.
What if, because then somebody would say there are ups and downs, right? Now, there are moments where people fail.
Yeah.
So for you, it's like you failed and you stopped, or you felt like,
Oh,
like this was something went under, so let me try something new?
So I failed and I stopped
Yeah.
for a long while. I now took, so from when I started, I was like back to back, always hustling, always busy and all that. But then when that happened, I literally stopped. Like, I stopped. I just became a couch potato at home for a while. Because I was like trying to conceive that would happen to me. Like, I've seen people have bad events.
Yeah.
It happens. But I was like, me? Why? My idea is good. People love it. People have a good time.
Yeah.
You know? I stopped for a long while. So now I started doing... I'm a business person, so I started focusing more on other biasharas. But then my mind, my heart, ikatoka kwa fashion. So I decided to just take a break. But then it was a blessing in disguise, because after it, nika pivot
Yeah.
to something different, something better. But you, I think that was my entry into the event space or into my entrepreneurship. But I don't think it's something I'd go back to it.
What did you learn when it comes to that moment when you did your third event, and you're definitely expecting it to be bigger and better than the first and the second one, but then it didn't? What did you learn about how you handle failure?
That I'm so hard on myself, also because I took a risk to start my business, right?
Yeah.
And all along, everything has been going on just good,
Yeah.
right? But then the biggest event that I have, like I used to have other events as well, which were very small and intimate. Those ones I was okay with them turning. But this, that I get prime time with,
Yeah.
I realized failure can happen to the best of us, and it's for a reason. I think at that particular point, I started asking myself some difficult questions I had not asked before, because I was always in the go. But now I'm like, okay, what made this go wrong? So I started asking myself questions. Was it in terms of the alignments I had that year with the fashion people? Was it because of wrong timing, wrong venue? Because I think at that particular time pia kulikuwa kumeanza kujengwa express or something. I think also the roads were changing. Have people moved from that side of town, like going all the way to that side, kwenda events? I realized when you fail, you need to give yourself grace. Sometimes it's not the easiest, because you're like, why me, you know? But then once you make peace with kuwa it can happen to the best of us. It took me a while, but finally, I think I've always just been in denial about it.
Yeah.
Finally umeisema. That one is what I was waiting
I've just
for.
been in denial about it, I think,
Yeah.
because it was such a good event. It was such a good event. Yeah.
Have you recovered from that? No?
I can't say I have, because that's the only time I felt like a failure. Because otherwise, I'm always an achiever in school, in everything I'm doing. My things go okay.
Yeah.
So that's the one moment in my life where I didn't have control about anything. So I'll always have it at the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good. It brought better things ahead.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that side of you. We're speaking to Everlyne Moraa Oyagi. She's the founder and CEO of Swazuri Events Limited. Now, when we get back, we're going to talk about how you can raise capital for your business. What do you need to put in place to get that capital? And I want to look at how you can raise capital for your business. Everlyne, what, before looking for capital for business, because again, you say you work with different entrepreneurs and you guys train and you do capacity building. How does an entrepreneur become capital ready?
So there are different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
And first thing first, when it comes to young entrepreneurs, one thing they need to know and understand is the governance and systemic structures around where they exist. So let's say in our context, Kenya, or even county-based, right? And so there's a lot of misinformation, and more people are not going out of their way to share the right information.
Yeah.
So for example, every young person who starts a business doesn't want to get registered, or most of them don't want to get registered because they think KRA is coming after them, right? So that's the first assumption they have. Like, and then taxes. So then that means they don't even understand, just because you're registered, there are different types of taxes to be paid in a business, in a corporate or whatever. And everyone who's above 18 should be paying tax if you're earning something. But then as a business, you don't pay VAT unless you have an annual turnover of, I think it's 5 million. People don't know that. So people think, if I register my business today, I need to start paying tax this month. No, you need an accountant. If you don't know your numbers, get an accountant who will help you balance your books, and they'll guide you on the type of taxes you need to pay as a business. You get? But then people are not aware of that. People have the fear that if I do this, the next thing is the taxman. And I keep telling them every time, you not registering your business means you'll always play small. Because you are too afraid to be seen, you're too afraid to be heard. Now the only biashara you can do is just the one chini ya maji. But then where tenders are, opportunities are for youth and women, you can't feature because you don't have the documents. First of all, so you lose out on the potential of your business. Another thing I would say is, we need more authentic stories around doing biashara in this country. I feel like people like sharing so much about their wins. They forget to share their laws, which all in all exist in this space. And so having people understand that, yes, you might need capital, but you might have the capital na bado you fail in business. You know, haimaanishi just because I can give you $1 million at your business will thrive. If you've not figured out your business systems and structures properly from the onset, then most definitely your business will fail, whether uko na hiyo capital ama uko na hiyo investment or not. So what does that mean for you as a business person? You need to literally set up the right systems and structures. So that can be as basic in whatever business you're in. You need to be registered. Let's say you need to have a business bank account, and registration can exist as a business name or a company, limited liability, whatever it is you're doing. But then even if you're registered as a business name and you have your business bank account, that means pesa yote una earn kila siku. Instead of your pesa kuja directly to your M-Pesa, let it go to the bank account ya biashara. Because nowadays banks have the till numbers for the businesses to encourage the direct deposits. And this is one thing I noticed when we were doing our 2-in-1 program, where we were training young entrepreneurs in Nairobi, Mombasa, in Jomvu, Changamwe and Mvita. To them, most of them, the money was coming directly to their phone number. And so by evening, mtoto anahitaji maziwa, they need to eat supper, nini, hiyo pesa imetoka. So who knows you're making money? Just you, yourself, and you. Because no one else has records of you making money. It's just you and your M-Pesa.
I like that, because then at what point, so let's say for somebody who's running a small, let's say, how do you say, a small business, right? And I'll give an example of maybe a photographer or somebody who sells, how do you call it, mahamri. You do it every single day. So I get this income and I'm thinking, it's not much. Why does it need to go to the bank? Right? Yeah. So there's also that assumption. I'm thinking, why does this need to go to the bank? At what point should I say, okay, now I need to value this as a business and not play games, and then now register a bank account, register with KRA, and then open a bank account and channel all the funds huko? And two, a question that an entrepreneur asked earlier on is that from my income, because you've said sazingine money comes in and you use it, right? How do I separate what I can use to fend for myself and then also leave some for the business?
So on your first point, before nisahau, I feel like, can you come again?
Okay, good. The first one.
I was about to say mom brain. There's mom brain happening.
It's okay, no worries. So the first one, how do I know that this business, so I'm a mama mbog, not mama, like I'm doing a daily business that's generating income.
I remember now.
Monday to Friday. right? So it's generating income Monday to Friday, but I don't think it's bringing enough income for me to put it in the bank, right? Let's say in a day I've raised 1,000, and then maybe leo nimetoka na 600, and then 1,500. I'm thinking, why does this need to go to the bank?
Who said that's not enough?
Mm-hmm.
Who's told you that's not enough? If you're operating as a micro business, right? Which is most businesses in Kenya anyway. If you're a micro business, no one expects you to have 1 million shillings every day, or even 10,000 every day.
Yeah.
Because there's also different categories. Hiyo 600 yenye umeuza ama yenye umebaki nayo after you've paid everyone, that is yours and it should reflect. And the reason it's important, it's because, again, biashara unafanya, is it a means to an end, ama you seeing a bigger picture around it? Because pia there are people doing business because sahi sina kazi, siku nitapata kazi nitaachana nayo niende kwa employment. But if you're doing a business ukisema, in the years to come naweza taka kuwa na restaurant ama naweza taka kuwa na kihoteli, na unajua, let's say you won't have that money seated somewhere, you will need support. How do you start gaining support? You start now.
Okay.
By proving that you have cash flows, by proving that kila siku unaweza ingiza pesa. So by the time, let's say you need that extra support and you know you don't have family, si wanasemanga the 3 biggest sources of finances in a business: family, friends, and fools. So you have no family to give you money, you have no friends who can give you money, you don't know enough fools who can believe in your idea. So now create relationships with financial institutions who can see the track record that indeed unapitisha pesa.
And that track record is built by putting money in this
and having a bank
account.
statement, because now it will show and reflect who you at the end of the day. Kila mwezi wanaangalia debit versus credit. At the end of the month umepitisha pesa ngapi, hata kama ni 10 bob, sini yako, ni ya biashara yako. You can have good days and bad days, right? But then the moment unaanza kujinyima hiyo opportunity means by the time you want that financial support, where do you turn to? Utasema kuna pesa.
Interesting. And now for the friend who, for the guy who, again, the business person, and I've made 1,000, and from the 1,000 hatuna maziwa, hatuna bread, sina transport, and so I'm chipping in from that. How does one separate those two? Is it even possible to separate?
It is, and I think also pia it depends with the level of business you're at. So zingine when you're starting out, utajipata you are literally living hand to mouth. Manake hiyo pesa unapata and it's needed for something else here and there and here and there. But then that is why you will need a bit of, let's say, capital injection. Because for you as a business person, kama you're not able to pay yourself a salary, it can start from as little as 5k per month. Unasema whatever we are earning ama whatever expenses kampuni, mimi yangu nataka tu 5k. Because you can always grow from that. Hiyo 5k ndio inakufinance hizo vitu unataka, hiyo maziwa nini. But the moment you don't have such structures, again, where you don't know, seek professional services to help you. The moment hauna hiyo awareness and you're not able to do that, you would be like, siacha niingie kwa account leo nichukue 1,000 ya kutumia hii wiki. But you see, you're stealing from the business. And when you steal from the business, are you able to track that expense? Uandike kuwa umechukua hiyo 1,000 and one day you might have to pay the business back. And tracking can be as simple as having a notebook if you don't have a computer, but if you have one, an Excel. Track finances to the last coin. I track even 5 shillings that I take or use in my business, because at the end of the day nataka kujua 2-3 years from now, how much money have I injected in this business? Unaweza shinda tu ume-inject pesa all the time to a point you keep having hope, badala evaluating kama biashara ina make sense or not. Because pia knowing your finances will help you analyze your business properly. See ati kila time, a year plus 6 months to a year, you should be able to get to like a break-even point for a small business. But if you're not able to, 2 years bado una inject money into your business, you need to ask yourself some difficult questions.
Najaribu kuimagine pale umetaja kusik, unasema we seek
professional services.
Hapo kwa professional services, unajua assumption ya vijana hapa nje ni kwamba mimi ndio naanza Na wakati mwingi tu tukisikia mwanzo the word professional tunajua sasa ni pesa ingine huko inahitajika. Sasa tunafanyaje na tutajuaje kwamba huyu pengine anaweza nisaidia katika kuhakikisha biashara yangu inaweza kusimama?
Again, talk to people. So I'll use my personal example. Nikianza, I was 22, I don't know, 23. I didn't know anything, right? So nilikuwa nikipata chance ya kwenda tuseme kwa events. Like si kuna events zina happen Nairobi all over. And then maybe I see someone who's on the panel ama I interact na mtu mwenye tuseme atasema 1, 2, 3 things and I'll be like, this is a woman worth knowing. I will take their contact. I will make sure I follow up on that network and ask them, can you mentor me? I'd be like, I'm starting this, and to be able to avoid a few pitfalls, I might need someone to support me. The beauty of having a mentorship is where mali mtu haizi fill in your gap, atakurifaa. Atakurifaa manake pia yajui kila kitu. But because of the nature of the power of referral, anaweza kupatia mtu akwambie support huyu mtu. And just like that, you get support yenye you cannot pay for, but someone sees your goals, sees your dreams, sees your vision, and they're able to plug into it. But it's because umeongea. Umetoka out there, ukaongea na watu wenye wako in a different space than you. Manake pia mkikaa nyinyi wote in the same space, you will just get disoriented, mta lose hope, manake nyote mtakuwa mnasema mashida.
Like hakuna mtu anasema
hakuna mtu anasema solution.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
All right. When it comes to now capital, how does one, at what point, first of all? So you've said, when I cannot sustain myself in the business, then now I need to start looking for capital. What areas, what avenues are there for me when I'm starting to look for capital?
So I'll talk about capital in form of investment, which is quite a big yet small term, depending on the level uko ya biashara. Most people, young people, when they are starting up businesses, they have the hope of grant funding, especially in this area. I mean, like communities where there's a lot of youth. Na wanasikia kuna programs, nini, grant funding becomes a key area of capital they want to tap into. But then, again, we mwenyewe, do your structures allow for you to be funded? That is why unaweza pata kuna donors ama funders who are very critical, like lazima ukue registered, lazima ukue na bank account. They don't fund individuals. They fund businesses, and businesses have a way they operate and have a way they've been registered. We also need to remember that the principles and fundamentals of doing business are still the same, regardless of the era we are in. If there are certain documentations needed in any business, just because we are in 2025 doesn't mean it's invalid. The principles and fundamentals of doing business are still the same. So now, let's talk about watu wenye wako kwa ground kabisa, like in our communities kama wa Mahamri ama tuseme Mbaazi, hizo za asubuhi pekee and then they're done. We're in an era where fintech is quite a big thing, financial technology. Again, information. Saa zingine wanasemanga my people perish for the lack of knowledge or something. For example, right now on M-Pesa, if you open a till number, you're able to access a loan on your M-Pesa till. It takes a lot of transactions, yes, but up or two on your phone, you can get a business loan. M-Pesa on itself as a platform has been able to separate ama provide different avenues to separate your personal and business money. There's pochi la biashara, there's till number. And I think till number, there are people who register using their own names actually, even without a registration. So that is a very simple avenue. Yenye kila mtu yatumia, yani everyone uses. You get.
Maya.
But sasa unaona kwa vile pesa inapitia kwako, haipiti kwa till, inakuevaluate vitofauti.
So that's why that money needs to go through the till. Okay.
Because for you, once you are registered as a business, they gauge you as a business. once it's personal, you're given personal loan. So tuseme right now you need loan hata kama ni ya 10k for your biashara, but your M-Pesa is active and you're able to get that loan through, I think is it M-Shwari or something. But utaichukulia kampeni yako. Unaona hata mindset tayari vile tutaoperate with the context like ni mimi. Lakini when you have the financial guidelines and principles na mtu anakusaidia kuelewa, by the time unasema biashara yako inahitaji pesa ya nini? Do you want to buy an asset? Unataka kuongeza jiko ama unataka kuongeza stock unga ya hiyo siku ama bandari ndo upike uilipe jioni? The financial discipline as well. Unataka kuchukua hiyo pesa ya nini? Because pia tunajipata having such resources inafanya watu wengi wanakuwa in debt na walipi na wako listed CRB over pesa ndogo. Most people are listed under 2,000 bob because madeni are less than 2,000. And once you're there you stay for 7 years before you get out. And so again unapata fintech, kuna platform kama I think there's like Pezesha supports entrepreneurs, young people in business, micro, and so many other. But then because I remember Pezesha was a partner we were trying to work with when we were doing the training, the Twin program training. And the key thing they were asking these biasharas is, okay, even if hauko registered, we need a county license or permit where we know we can find you. Awana.
So pretty much the things that you need to put in place before you start thinking about a capital.
Because sometimes your business doesn't need the capital.
Okay, so tell us, for a young person who's listening, an entrepreneur who's listening in, tell this person what they need to put in place before even thinking about a capital.
Financial literacy is important. So to any young person mwenye labda ako tuseme, because I realize chamas are also big. Watu wengi wako kwa hiyo chama cycle. Wenye wako kwa hizo biashara za mtaani and all that. Set up meetings with your account managers where you bank your chama money, which I hope mna bank your chama money because nowadays banks pia zime evolve. Let them teach you a bit of literacy that will impact your biasharas directly. That's the bare minimum training you can get. We mwenyewe uelewe record keeping kwa biashara yako.
And banks offer this information for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I once heard a lady say when women go to the bank, they do what takes them there and they leave. Most men who access money from banks, wakienda bank, sometimes tu amekuja kusalimia manager akunywe chai naye. Amulize nini naendelea, where is the bank heading to, what new products are coming up, ndo wajue how to align themselves.
I mean, the bank looks like a very serious place. We just
una chai tunaweza enda tukitoka hapa tunaenda.
You're right about that.
Iko chai chakunywa.
And so even how we relate with institutions. Which is very important because that is information that they would pass down free, willingly. Just sit down with someone in the bank and they will guide you because we mwenye ukigrow as a business, they also grow. Manake it will mean more money flowing through them. Kwa hivyo your growth is like such a critical point for them as well. So that's the most simplest one I can tell yenye haitahitaji a lot of things. Manake the other one ningesema look for an accountant. And there are accountants who support young people from a very small fee. Hata labda ni $1,000 a month and they can do your books. These things are there because I know it. I see how we support others, you know. Or look for people like us or even people like you who have talks and initiatives around young people. Don't just sit at home. Go and learn how can I get support. Wakati ujui kitu jitume. Because when you look at the future, ukijua where you want to go, you know the gaps you need to fill.
Okay. All right. So finally, why are you in Mombasa? You have an event that's coming up?
No.
No?
So I'm in Mombasa for a meeting. Actually, it's happening the next 1 hour.
Okay.
Just for 2 days, but I'm hoping to meet a few stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement is something I do very well. So,
Yeah.
because we did end up registering a CBO when we did the program, the Twin One program, which was funded by USAID, YALI, and KU. After that, I saw the need in my community, and I decided to register a CBO known as Kuza Youth, Tuko Miritini Estate, Jomvu constituency. And one of the key things we want to keep on doing is capacity building and also those professional linkages. Tapping into my Nairobi network and what I'm able to do in Mombasa. Manake Mombasa ni home.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, where we are able to give back, we want to be able to give back properly.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you so much, Everlyne. We've been speaking to Everlyne Moraa Oyagi. She's the founder and CEO Swazuri Events Limited. Sisi tunasema
Adios.